We are sitting here 2 weeks away from election night. Last election, the former president came out on election night and declared victory before all the votes were counted. What is your plan if he does that again in 2 weeks?
Well, let me say this. We've got 2 weeks to go. And I'm very much grounded in the present in terms of the task at hand. And we will deal with election night and the days after as they come. And we have the resources and the expertise and the focus on that as well.
So you have teams ready to go? Is that what you're saying? Are you thinking about that as a possibility?
Of course. This is a person, Donald Trump, who tried to undo a free and fair election, who still denies the will of the people, who incited a violent mob to attack the United States Capitol, and 140 law enforcement officers were attacked. Some were killed. This is a serious matter. The American people are, at this point, 2 weeks out, being presented with a very, very serious decision.
So that's Hallie Jackson from NBC asking Vice President Kamala Harris what's her plan if President Trump comes out on election night and, as he did in 2020, just declares victory when obviously votes are still being counted, as is anticipated that votes will still be counted.
Yeah, you know, it's a likelihood. I mean, Donald Trump is already sowing doubts in this, in the outcome of this election. He's been doing that for many, many months, and you can anticipate some mischief, I think, on election night as the votes are being counted, him declaring victory, even though he isn't the winner. And even if he loses, I'm sure he will say that he was the real winner. This is a real scary, I think, prospect for a lot of Americans to have sort of a repeat of what happened in 2020, not only on January 6th, but just violence in the street, because Donald Trump, he is chumming the waters with all of this talk of illegal voting and the idea that this is going to be stolen from him again.
All right, thanks to one and all for being here. Voters across the U.S. say they're getting sick of the constant text messages from candidates asking them to donate to their political campaigns. The messages come at an excessive, even alarming pace and make it seem as though the need for money is urgent. But a new CNN analysis of campaign finance data found that hundreds of elderly Americans, some of them with dementia and other cognitive impairments, have been deceived by political fundraisers, giving away far more money than they ever intended. Kyung La has been investigating this story for us. And Kyung, these people were essentially manipulated into giving away, in some cases, their life savings?
Well, this is what our analysis found, Jake. Our investigative team reviewed more than 1,000 public reports and complaints, and we found deceptive political fundraising by Republicans and Democrats has victimized hundreds of elderly Americans, misleading them into donating far more than they intended through the online platforms called WinRed and ActBlue. And all of this adds up very quickly. We were able to sample just 52 elderly donors, many who suffer from dementia or cognitive decline, and that group gave away more than $6 million of their life savings, the majority to Donald Trump and other Republican candidates. I want you to meet one of the families we spoke with, the Benjamins, and 81-year-old Richard Benjamin, who has dementia.
He had essentially put himself $50,000 in debt after he had given them his life savings.
So you made more than 100 donations in one day.
My gosh.
So Dad, do you remember giving all these donations?
WinRed. Boy, there was a lot of them WinRed ones.
When we looked at his phone told the whole story, because he would get
Dozens
of text messages a day.
I was dealing with President Trump, and so it came up that when they wanted to find out what I was doing, that's what I put in.
He really, in his heart, believed that Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr. and other politicians were personally reaching out to him.
He just didn't have the capacity to understand what it was that he was actually doing.
Now, ultimately, Mr. Benjamin gave away more than $80,000 of his life savings in political donations. WinRed did not reply to our request for comment, but the Trump campaign did, saying that it notifies donors before processing recurring donations and has staff on hand to help with refunds and cancellations. As far as ActBlue, they did send us a statement saying it has a service team to help donors and accommodates as many refunds as possible beyond a 90-day refund window if there are signs of cognitive decline. And Jake, we do have our full investigation on CNN.com. It includes how you can quickly check if someone you love has been donating on these platforms, Jake.
They should give that money back to that man. That's just wrong.